Mesopotamia provided the world's first written record of a kiss 4,500 years ago, but the habit is much older. You aren't just expressing love, you are subconsciously tasting an immune system to scan for genetic compatibility. But how did this bizarre habit begin? We grow up assuming that kissing is just a fundamental part of being human. It is the ultimate symbol of love, plastered across every movie screen and celebrated at every wedding. But if you think locking lips is a universal human instinct, the data says you are completely wrong. When anthropologists like William Jankowiak actually studied 168 different cultures across the globe, they found something shocking. Only 46% of human societies actually engage in romantic kissing. In fact, back in 1890, when European colonizers first arrived in South Africa and were seen kissing, the local Thonga people were absolutely horrified. They watched these foreigners swapping spit and found the entire display deeply repulsive and profoundly unnatural. So, if kissing is not some innate behavior that every human is born wanting to do, why do the rest of us do it? The answer takes us back over 1 million years into our messy evolutionary past. To find the true origin of the kiss, we have to travel back over 1 million years, long before romance was even a concept. Imagine a prehistoric mother crouched in the dust of a dry savanna trying to feed her infant. There are no blenders, no jars of mashed peas, and definitely no soft baby food. Her child has no teeth and cannot process the tough, fibrous roots or the stringy, raw meat that the adults are eating. The baby is hungry and crying, reaching out with small, frantic hands. So, the mother does the only thing she can. She takes a piece of food, wipes away the grit, and chews it herself. Her jaw moves rhythmically as she breaks the fibers down into a soft, warm paste. Then, she leans in, cradling the back of the child's head, and presses her mouth directly against her baby's mouth. She uses her tongue to push the food in, making sure her child can swallow it safely. This process is called pre-mastication, or kiss feeding. For over 50,000 generations, this intense, messy mouth-to-mouth contact was the primary way that early humans kept their infants alive. Over time, this survival instinct became part of who we are. The physical act of pressing lips together stopped being a way to transfer calories and started being a way to feel safety, comfort, and the deepest possible bond between two people. As human societies evolved, so did the meaning of the kiss. The slow transition from a survival-based feeding technique to a deliberate romantic gesture took a long time to show up in the history books. For a while, we thought the oldest record came from India, but a study in 2023 pushed that date back by a full 1,000 years. The oldest known written description of a romantic kiss actually comes from ancient Mesopotamia, etched into a small clay tablet roughly 4,500 years ago. You can almost feel the weight of that tablet in your hand, its edges worn smooth by time and the desert sand. An anonymous poet captured that thrilling sensation perfectly, writing about the way their upper lip became moist while their lower lip trembled just before they finally leaned in to embrace their lover. But it was not all poetry and secret meetings. Around that same time in the city of Larsa, the air likely thick with the smell of river mud and burning incense, a woman named Shat Marduk filed a legally binding document. She sat before a scribe and swore off her illicit lover forever, marking the kiss as a dangerous transgression that could get a person in real trouble. If you love uncovering these hidden histories of everyday human behaviors, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss an episode. History tells us when we started kissing, but it does not explain why we crave it on a biological level today. To understand the modern kiss, we have to look at one of the weirdest scientific studies ever conducted. In 1995, a Swiss biologist named Klaus Weyekind completely stripped the romance out of human attraction. He gathered a group of men, handed them plain cotton t-shirts, and told them to wear those shirts for 2 days straight without any deodorant or showers. Then, he put those sweat-soaked shirts into boxes and asked a group of women to smell them and rate their attractiveness. It sounds absolutely disgusting, but the results completely changed how we think about love. The women did not choose the shirts randomly. They consistently preferred the smell of men whose immune system genes were completely different from their own. Wedekind proved that human mate selection is heavily driven by subconscious olfactory scans. We are literally sniffing out our biological opposites to ensure that our children inherit the strongest, most diverse immune systems possible. And that brings us to the massive twist in our story. When you lean in for a romantic kiss, you might think you are swept up in the magic of the moment. You might think it is all about passion and connection. But here is what is actually going on beneath the surface. A kiss is essentially a microscopic biological background check. Because humans have a terrible sense of smell compared to other animals, we cannot just sniff each other from across the room to figure out our genetic compatibility. We have to get incredibly close. By locking lips and swapping saliva, you are placing your nose right next to the other person's scent glands. Your brain is secretly using that moment of intimacy to gather crucial data. You are tasting their chemical profile, smelling their pheromones, and assessing their immune system. If the genetic match is poor, your brain might register the kiss as a dud, completely killing the romantic vibe. But if the match is right, your brain floods your body with dopamine and oxytocin. This hidden biological mechanism completely flips the script on how we think about romance and destiny. We write thousands of songs about finding our soulmate, and we spend our entire lives looking for that one person who gives us a spark. We usually give fate or the alignment of the stars all the credit for that feeling. But the truth is actually much more interesting. That elusive spark is largely driven by a microscopic protein matching algorithm hidden deep inside our noses and our saliva. You are essentially a walking laboratory, constantly gathering data on every person you meet. Every time you kiss someone, you are running complex chemical computations to determine the survival of our future species. It is a reminder that humans are not actually separate from the animal kingdom. No matter how much poetry we write or how many fancy clothes we wear, we are still deeply driven by the ancient primal urge to survive and thrive. But here is the thing, knowing the science does not actually ruin the magic. If anything, it makes the act of falling in love feel even more miraculous. Your body is performing millions of calculations in a fraction of a second, all to tell you that you have found someone truly special. It is biology doing the heavy lifting for your heart. Since we are already taking a microscope to romance, let us look at a few more wild facts about locking lips. A single 10-second French kiss transfers an astonishing 80 million bacteria between two mouths. It sounds messy, but it is actually part of how we bond. Scientists even have a specific name for this study. It is called philematology. When you lean in to kiss someone, there is a 2/3 chance you will tilt your head to the right. This is not just a random choice. Researchers believe it is a subconscious habit that develops while we are still growing in the womb. And if you are looking for a workout, kissing actually burns calories. It requires the coordination of 146 different muscles, including 34 facial muscles and 112 postural muscles. It is essentially a microscopic workout, a massive bacterial exchange, and a high-stakes genetic test all rolled into one highly coordinated physical action. When you put all these pieces together, the story of the human kiss becomes an incredible journey through a million years of history. What started as a desperate, messy way for early human mothers to keep their toothless infants from starving has transformed into the ultimate romantic gesture. It was etched into Babylonian clay tablets 4,500 years ago as an act of rebellion. It horrified 19th century explorers who had never seen it before, and it eventually became the centerpiece of global romance. We basically took the simple act of chewing food and turned it into nature's most sophisticated matchmaking software. Every time you kiss someone, you are participating in a ritual that spans the entire history of human evolution. You are honoring that primal bond between mother and child, while simultaneously trusting your immune system to guide your heart. It is the perfect blend of our ancient past and our biological future happening right there on your lips. So the next time you experience that perfect butterflies in your stomach kiss, you can thank your ancestors, your immune system, and those 80 million newly transferred bacteria. I am genuinely curious. Does knowing the science behind kissing ruin the romance for you, or does it make it even more fascinating? Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you enjoyed exploring the weird biology of human behavior, please make sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss out on our next deep dive into the strange things we do. Stay curious, and I will see you in the next one.